Over the past few years, women have hit one hell of a stride. We have female singers and female motorists, and some third funny thing. Women can do anything, even fighting most every battle for the Liberation Army. That's right, I've decided to play Suikoden, and every point of damage I have to deal is going to be dealt with female units, at least in the game's routine battle system. We'll talk about the others when we come to them. That's right, today it's going to be more like Suikoden. Suikoden's nominally the tale of Tear, as in teardrop, so I've named him Drop because for most of this run, he'll be face down in the dirt. Thankfully, we don't have to compromise. The game gives us a lady type from jump, the amazing Cleo, and she is a damn good unit. We're not going to drop her at the first opportunity, she's great. Our first mission is to get the boys clapped while Cleo levels up to 8. After Craze justifiably asks us where the hell we were, we're sent on our first mission, and our first boss battle. Cleo rocks it. The clay doll can only deal 1 HP damage to her, and she can deal a lot right back. This will not be a bellwether. We get the Farmer's Almanac, or whatever the hell, and are tasked with our next mission, beating up some tax dodgers. Thankfully, the lady who gave us the Farmer's Almanac also gave us a fire rune, so Cleo can burn the tax dodgers all the way down to hell. On our return trip, we learned that UNATCO was evil all along, and the good guys were actually the NSF. Wait, wrong game. Anyway, we throw in our lot with the Liberation Army, and our first task is to save the guys we just beat up. Cleo saves the bandits without hesitation, so Odessa joins us, temporarily giving us double the Dame, which actually is necessary here in Mount Tiger Wolf. They got some crazy snails, and I have to reset at least once. Naturally, the second time I try it, I have no problems. Odessa leads the others to believe that she and Drop got it on for some reason. After the return trip, she's taken out, perhaps by Midland, and we decide to just lie about her death and go visit her brother, which means our warm, safe grinding enclosure is about to be closed to us forever. Let's talk about grinding in Suikoden. Basically, if you're underleveled, you'll gain levels like crazy, but the gains will fall off with a quickness. As I decide I don't want to spend the time grinding, and I'm not attempting some Seer-style challenge where I need to, I just go on and head to the next area. Now, the next area has far, far deadlier baddies, which might put a damper on any grinding. Even with the best available gear, Cleo is not up to the task of soloing them. In lieu of any leveling, I advance the plot and obtain our next permanent woman, Camille. I decide to see where we stand on the next boss, the zombie dragon, and we are not ready. It's at this point that I re-examine the rules of this women-only challenge. After giving it some thought and reading some persuasive feminist theory, I decide the men have a place in our glorious revolution. They can be meat shields. Rather than waiting for the menfolk to get clapped, which means we might have zero chance against the zombie dragon, they'll just go into battle without armor. They'll only defend or throw the occasional healing item on the ladies, and once they're down, they're down. I won't get them back up again until I need to recharge spell slots. With our new rules in place, I take advantage of the kobolds in the Great Forest to get up to about level 20, and with higher levels, I can put the dragon dead to rights. We've claimed what I will name Woodhull Castle, after Victoria Woodhull, the first woman to run for president. Now that we have the ability to recruit, let's set some ground rules. Male combatants who serve no other purpose are not allowed, and I cannot voluntarily put men into my party. I do, however, have to obtain all the female combatants, so I will acquire men who are necessary to obtain them. So, for example, just to explain my rules, the first 3 blacksmiths would be okay, but since you need to voluntarily place those blacksmiths into your party to obtain the other 2, The last two are not okay. All that said, I collect who I can and advance the plot. We've learned LaPont will talk to anyone who steals his sword, and doing this mansion lady only is a crazy challenge. The machine soldiers are surprisingly durable when we don't have Kai to thwack them. That said, we progress through just in time for LaPont to join us, which means he's also going to be a meat shield. After Cleo roasts some soldiers alive, LaPont's wife Eileen acts as though her husband contributed, and we take Craze's head. With Jupo in our party, he joined during the LaPont debacle, we can obtain Meg, which means we finally have 3 erstwhile female combatants. Before we can debate who was better, Lacey Chabert or Milich Cookies, we run into a much better combatant, Valeria. Not only does she have a crap ton of HP, she comes preloaded with the Falcon Rune, which deals a perfect accuracy attack, worth triple damage. Yeah, she's definitely going to be in my final party. Valeria tries to get the stubborn elves to listen to her dire warning, but because they're a bunch of foolish men, our pleas fall on deaf ears. We decide to try the dwarves, and they demand we steal from them first. A task to which Valeria and company are gladly up. With the dwarves on our side, it's time to tackle our first war battle, which is kinda exempt from our rules. Most battle parties are a melange of male and female, so doing this lady only would be nigh unto impossible. After we win, we face down Panu Yakuta, which means it's time for one of Suikoden's most annoying facets.
Host party members.
See, you're generally rolling with 2 or 3 required members at any given point, which means there's plenty of room for Kai and whoever else you want to take. That said, there are 2 instances where you must use a predetermined party, and Panu Yakuta is one of them. Thankfully, blessedly, one of our forced characters is Valeria. Before I take down the boss, I decide to clap all my boys to see if she can handle it solo. And she can! It takes all her items on hand, but damn if she doesn't rock the dragon. Dragon Ball Z! Next up, drop as a duel with Quanda Rosman, and I learned that if a character is knocked out before they begin a duel, they start with 1 HP, which is, well, it's technically not unworkable, but it takes insane luck to win. Anyway, I reset, give drop some decent armor, rest up, and we've won! And yes, I guess this technically means we can't win lady only. But ah well, the ladies are going to do the brunt of the labor, so I still say as it counts. After Quanda loses, he starts up with some jargle about a black rune. We don't listen and we summarily execute him for the crime of penis have, for which Wendy congratulates us. We've passed our first true test. Our next test comes when we have to soothe Flick. You know how in the MCU there'll be a sequence where a character is all, "Nuh-uh, no way, no how, I'm not joining for nothing, I'm done." Then like the next scene they get half a pep talk and they shrug and join anyway. Yeah, that's basically what happens with Flick here. After another war battle and a different unwinnable war battle, we're headed to Milich's domain. Milich's regions is full of Chinese towns that he's given French names. But enough about that, we get Mina to join us. She's not good enough to supplant any of our lady types, but she joins all the same. We also get Hellion, who gives us the best item in the game, the Blinking Mirror, which unlocks fast travel. Also, I tragically didn't realize this until way later, but she's an absolute hoss in battle. After a visit to Scarlaticia, we decide we need to buy a boat. I'm a little nervous because the boat purchase ruined my Lufia 2 run, but it seems to go smoothly. Delivering the boat is another instance where you're required to use 6 predetermined party members, and hey, it reminds me of my college years, cause there ain't a woman to be seen. Thankfully, there's nothing stopping me from just warping back to base and warping out to my destination. Boat bought. We ship out to Liu Khan's hermitage, and he gets kidnapped by the original Southern dandy, Milik Oppenheimer. We gotta bail the medic out, which means we get us another lady, Kimberly. Despite being a combatant, she largely serves the purpose of getting us into Sony prison. We enter the prison, taking out some guards who for some reason are immune to our fake orders, and we save Liu Kang. And then the Master Medic really proves his skill by letting Gremio die of spores. Top-notch work there, buddy. Really believe you're the best medic on Earth. With Gremio nagging the angels now, Drop has decided to enact glorious vengeance upon Milich. Except he's kinda useless, so he has to fall back on his lady squad. We eventually confront the coxcomb, and he makes up something about a black rune. Unfortunately, we need him to get another character, so Drop can't drop the fop, much as he might want to put his head up on a pike and call it macaroni. Before you can say the word Popinjay, dear old dad is here to finally fight us, and despite being an ineffectual man, he absolutely wrecks our day. Pawn stays to cover our escape. He's nude, he's level 1, he's been knocked out this whole time, so he only has 1 HP for the duel, and his weapons have not been upgraded. I think you can figure out how this goes for him. Thankfully, we dull the pain of losing Pawn by getting Kasumi, another top-flight lady unit. And since only Taiho is required for the next part, we can roll into Kalekka with 4 fabulous females. We're looking for a secret factory that's probably in this secret desert somewhere. I think I heard it on the news or something. Once we stand next to their fire spears, we get Ronnie Bell and have our rematch with our father. I do have to forge Drop's weapon up to level 8, but we eventually pull an Oedipus, minus the mother marriage. Also, Oedipus didn't really know it was his dad he was killing, so... patricide, baby. Next up is Warrior's Village. Necklord shows up and destroys us before you can say Jackie Daytona, regular human bartender. So we have to go find a talking sword, which means we need to visit the Cave of the Past. Wait, not that one. Anyway, the cave is a quick jaunt with a ton of great treasures and one very mouthy sword. Now that we have the Celestial Sword, we can finally take on the main vampire himself. Unfortunately, Hix insists on tagging along, so we have to give Camille the boot. Necklord is pretty damn easy. Normally, his high evasion causes all kinds of problems, but Valeria and Kasumi use rune-based abilities that cannot be dodged. I also gave Cleo the flowing rune, so she has a ton of healing. This sadly means the menfolk will get healed by way of my magic, but as Simone de Beauvoir wrote, sometimes when you're fighting a vampire, you have to heal the men too. We send Necklord back to Tucson, Arizona, and Victor takes his leave of us, not that we care. Instead, we go to the Dragon's Den, perhaps to pitch our brand new dinner time Pop-Tarts, Supper Slabs. Unfortunately, the gatekeeper rejects our pitch, and we're thrown on the mercy of yet another boulevardier. Vincent de Boule, who sounds like a loaf of bread, is able to get us in, and we learn the dragons are fast asleep. It's a requirement that I stick Liu Kang in my party to fix this, but I won't have to fight with him, so it's okay. Dragon Knight Milia joins us, giving us yet another lady. We grab the Moonlight Herb after fighting this weird orb boss. And Ted is cast aside to prepare for Season 2 of his Peacock show. There's also some stuff with Fotch, but he's a dude, so we don't care about him. Next up, Kasumi is blessedly forced into our party. Kren less so, and we have to save Victor from Kasim. Vincent is also here, but if you think I'm climbing back up Moravia Castle for a dude, you're wrong. After Moravia, we enter Shisarazad, and we're in for one shell of a challenge. But that conniving clam is small potatoes compared to our next boss, Sonia Schulin. I'm not fond of fighting a lady, but as Mary Wollstonecraft notably said, There are things we must occasionally ask of women, like fighting other women who use a spear, or maybe a halberd. Actually, I think that thing might be a naginata. Anyway, Sonya's really tough. She's fast, she takes less damage from magic, she dodges a lot, and she hits hard. And I almost lose. I basically only went on the last move with Valeria. Phew! With Shastra done, we enter endgame. And I could certainly tackle the Emperor with a badass Cleo, Valeria, Kasumi team, and call it that. But as Betty Friedan said in The Feminine Mystique, feminism means you let every female combatant get a crack at the Emperor. So we will honor her words, and I will tackle the Emperor as many times as necessary to ensure all 17 female combatants have gotten to taste victory. Turns out it's 7. It's 7 times. Before we return to Gregminster, I go to Moravia and get all my ladies up to about level 50 or so. Then we get ready for the big challenge. I look at the options before me and decide to spread out my ass kickers and my dead weight for maximum success. Our return to Gregminster has a boss, then a bunch of forced encounters, and the final showdown. I use the boss battle against Ein Geed as a bellwether to see what I need to tweak before the ultimate challenge. And before we get into the meat of this challenge, we need to talk about the final boss. The Golden Hydra is a 3-headed dragon that can use a nasty variety of attacks. Also, if we leave the leftmost head alive, it can revive the others, so we do want to take it out first. Taking out one of the heads also prevents its super move, which we want to avoid at all costs, as it is obscenely damaging. Heat 1 goes pretty well once I figure out what I'm doing. Turns out the leftmost head is immune to wind, so Cleo's Cyclone Rune will be useless against it, but Camille's Killer Orb is more than enough to carry the day. Meg is also there. That's 3 down. Next up is the trio of Valeria, Eileen, and Sarah. And to absolutely nobody's surprise, it's Valeria that carries today with her badass Falcon Rune. Another 3 down. Heat 3 is where I encounter my first bit of trouble. I try to float a Kasumi, Sylvina, Kimberly team, with Kimberly as my healer, as healing magic isn't so much affected by the user's magic stat. But the downside there is that Kimberly sucks and gets a pathetic number of spell charges. After Ein Geed utterly wrecks my day, I tag in Tingar to be an attack mage, shifting the water rune over to Sylvina. And this formulation actually works really well. Tingar is no Cleo, but she's definitely a strong mage, and her thunder magic really excellently supplants Kasumi's Shrike rune. Heat 4 is another one that starts out difficult, as my Lorelei, Ronnie Bell, Mina team falls pretty quickly. Turns out Mina isn't the best healer. Again, I have to make an executive decision, so I tag in Sonya for Lorelei to get her over as my healer, and I use Mina as an attack mage, a role to which she's actually very well suited. Ronnie Bell's Blaze Rune does roughly as much damage as Valeria's Falcon Rune, and between that and Mina's magic, it's enough to bring our successful lady count up to 12. Heat 5 is what I call the magic heat. Outside of Milia, our other 2 characters, Hellion and Lotta, are mages, and they just absolutely crush it. Hellion and Lotta are amazing, and their magic stats are so high, they seem to gain at least 1 spell charge guaranteed per level in the regular course of mandatory battle. Between Earthquake and Gaia's Voice, not to mention Iron Body, Hellion absolutely wrecks the final boss, and Lotta proves to be a damn fine healer. We're up to 15. And then there were 2, Lorelei and Kimberly. I could try to stick them on the same team, but neither one is a great unit. Neither is really suited to being a mage or healer. Rune-wise, they've really only got the Killer Rune to lean on, which just ups your critical hit rate. So they're just gonna go on a victory lap. I'm gonna do 2 heats, one with Cleo, Valeria, and Kimberly, the other with Cleo, Valeria, and Lorelei. Now between the two, Lorelai's a little better as she can at least attack from range. Kimberly's role in the final climb could charitably be called hanging out. All the same, Lorelai and Kimberly do perform their respective death blows, even though Cleo and Valeria do most of the heavy lifting. And yeah, they're gonna real queens fix each other's crowns or something. I think I read that somewhere. Anyway, we've done it! All 17 women have beaten or been present for the beating of the final boss. Barring those duels, every point of damage was dealt by a woman unit. We can call the Suikoden Lady Only Shikoden Challenge mission complete. And that's the Lady Challenge for Suikoden. Can you do it? Yes! Should you do it? I don't know, I'm not your dad. Or I guess in this case, your mom. The game is, on its face, actually pretty easy, so I'd argue most of this challenge comes from just not using all of your party members. Also not using Kai. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and if you like hearing me talk about JRPGs, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you don't like the sound of my voice, nothing would teach me a better lesson than liking and subscribing.